extensive knowledge of pharmacists. Are they collaborating, engaging with GPs?
I think we have got some excellent examples, but collectively we need to up our game. But we also need to make sure that the GPs are responding to it. So, in terms of collaboration, we need to develop a common aim and then work out who's going to do what, like a good team.
No doubt there are pharmacists perhaps who aren't, engaging and collaborating. Those pharmacists who perhaps aren't, well, why do you think they aren't?
I think old mindset is the way forward, and so scarcity is dominating their thinking. I think we now need to look at ways in which, through collaboration, we can all benefit.
Do you think on the other side of the coin, GPs perhaps don't have an interest in working with pharmacy?
I think we have to assume that they are ready to work with us and make the approaches, because if we stand here with suspicions, we are not going to make any progress at all.
So what is the long-term solution, briefly, do you think, to this to making this collaboration work and actually getting pharmacy established?
I think the first thing is to develop a dialogue with the GPs and looking at ways in which, working at a locality level, collectively we can improve people's health. And I think that is the way forward.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you. Had a great debate about the pharmacist-GP collaboration. Just in your area, are you collaborating with GPs? Are you finding that easy?
I'm a community pharmacist, and we are on very friendly terms with our GPs, but we find it very difficult to sit down on a table and discuss. They never invite us at all. So we need somebody, either we approach them directly, or we need a body to help us approach them. That's the only way we can discuss things. And I would love if GP practice has a regular meeting with a local pharmacist, which I don't think is happening in any areas.
You mentioned the bodies there, but there are lots of pharmacy bodies, NPA, IPF, Pharmacy Voice. So in your view, these bodies are not really doing that job?
That's how I feel, that there are no helping pharmacists to approach GP. I think if we went directly to them, they just ignore us. So it would be nice if a body represents us.
Yes. To just GP specifically, do you sense there's a bit of distrust between pharmacists and GPs, generally speaking? Do you think?
I wouldn't use the word distrust. I would say that GPs don't understand us, and probably they don't realize our potential. And I think pharmacists, they have also not a good opinion of the GPs, because they think they're just out to make money. So they don't include the pharmacist.
Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you, Veena, for joining us. So this very good debate we've had on GP pharmacy collaboration. Do you think GPs and pharmacists can work together?
I think they can definitely work together, and they can work in a very symbiotic way. It's just trying to find that common ground and trying to get into each other's kind of mindset as to what the needs are and what's best for the population as a whole. And I think we need to involve the patients in on that as well.
Yes. There has been suggested by some high-profile figures in the industry that perhaps there is a sense of distrust between the two professions. Would you go along with that?
I think that historically has been the case, and we need to kind of work over that. And I think it has been said, distrust is probably the wrong word. We just need to understand what we're both aiming for, and then the fact that there is plenty of work out there. We just need to find different bits of that work to do.
Do you think some pharmacists perhaps procrastinating? Do you think that it's a case of trying to change their mindsets?
I think on the whole, the average pharmacist doesn't know what the new landscape is, because it's changing so much, it's evolving all the time, and until that all settles down, and we're really waiting for April 2013 to really know what's going on. Yes, we need to work towards it, but as to what, the average pharmacist knowing what to do, that has to come from our leadership further up.
Yes, well, thanks very much for joining us. Thank you. Well, as a community pharmacist, how are you? Your experience with collaborating with your GPs in your local area? Are you engaged with your GPs?
I am engaged with them. I'm finding it quite tough at the moment. I mean, I'm fortunate that I know most of the GPs in my area since I was a child, so I'm finding it a little bit easier than most of my colleagues are. But as a collective of pharmacists together, we are finding it quite hard to actually engage with them and get them to sit around a table and discuss certain topics.
Do you think that GPs just aren't interested in working along with pharmacists?
They're not interested, but I think the primary reason is they don't know what we offer. You know, what do we do on a day-to-day? How can we bring value to the table? And I think that's the key thing, that we need to actually sit with them, discuss this, and show them how we can actually benefit the new NHS.
Do you think there's a sense of distrust between the two professions?
Distrust isn't the right word I'd use. I think it's just historically it's been, you know, us and them. It's always been the way ever since I've qualified anyway. But I think with the new NHS, we've just got to learn to work better together.
What is the solution long term to actually smooth that collaboration?
I think it's just have regular meetings. I mean, at the moment, from where we are, I meet my local GPs on a monthly basis, but the GPs will have their meetings where you have all the GPs together with the PCT. Pharmacists will have their meetings with a limited number of resources and people turning up. But I think the key thing is to actually have bigger meetings where you have the GPs, the doctors, the pharmacists, and maybe the nurses as well, all together. And actually, you know, once you get a dialogue going, the trust will be built in that way.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Cheers. The GP pharmacy collaboration, how are you finding that in your area? Are you finding it easy to engage with you and collaborate with your local GPs?
Initially it was tough. However, we found that since we've made the first initial approach to them, and we've actually talked about things that they're interested in, which is the QIP agenda and COF, they've been more than coming forward, and they've actually arranged meetings where they've invited pharmacists and vice versa, whereby we've invited some of the GPs. But more importantly, recently there's been about 4 or 5 meetings where GPs have invited us in the local area, local pharmacies, to for things like new medicine service and MERs, where this can benefit their patients.
There is a view that GPs perhaps aren't interested in really working with pharmacists. They're just not interested at all. Do you go along with that, or do you think that's a complete myth?
I think in certain areas that is true. However, I think things are changing, and I think once GPs get to know what pharmacists can add value, I think that is then things have definitely been changed. And I think it certainly is a myth whereby if we think that GPs are at a distance and they're not engaging, because they will engage if you've got something to offer. Offer them solutions. If you offer them solutions rather than problems, they're more than happy to come to you.
So what is the, in your view, a long-term solution to actually improve that collaboration between the two professions?
Long-term solution is collaborative working and integrated working. We need to help them with their long-term conditions. If you can take away the stress of the GPs on the short-term conditions and short-term problems, whereby they're concentrating on the long-term conditions, and help them with their QIP agenda, then I think that's a way forward. They need time, whereby at the moment an average England GP is spending 8 minutes with his patient. If they allowed them to do 20 minutes by taking away some of the mundane things, they're more than happy to engage with us. Offer them solutions, they'll come to us.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate that. Thank you. As you saw, that GP pharmacist collaboration, what's your view on that? Do you see that as an easy relationship, or is it riddled with difficulties? How do you see that?
I think it's difficult, but I think everyone agreed that the patient needs to be the centre of everything, and all the pharmacists around the table realised that if we explain to pharmacists that it's about making the patient the focus and how can we actually help the patient, and at the end of the day it's better for the pharmacist and the GP if everybody's working together. So the solution is right, but it's how you get there in the end.
Absolutely, yes. So as far as education and training is concerned, what would you take away from today's debate in regard to actually helping pharmacists get out there and engage more with GPs?
So, I mean, we're renewing our commitment to pharmacy and to education, and it's about providing pharmacists with the confidence and the tools to engage with their patients. And the more patients come in and have that conversation with their pharmacists and see their pharmacy as a place to go in and have that discussion about minor ailments or problems, then that'll feed back into the GPs as well. The other thing that I think came out is taking examples of pharmacies and pharmacists who do a great job and work with their GPs and get them to be a case study and do PR to actually show how easily it can work, and then other GPs and other pharmacists will look at it and say, actually, that's a great way of working, and copy them. So do your own kind of marketing and try and help that way.
Is it a case of pharmacists having to promote themselves better as opposed to, having to perhaps trying to change opinions? Is it a case of them having to actually get out there and sort of shout loud about what they do?
I think they're already shouting louder, but I think it's just that be confident and say, you do a great job, why don't you talk about it more? And the more of them that talk about it, then they'll spread with word of mouth. So yes, they need to do a little bit more marketing, but they're doing a great job anyway, so just be confident to tell other people about it.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you. We've had a great debate on the pharmacist GP collaboration. What are your views on that sort of relationship? Do you think that's a smooth relationship or an uneasy relationship?
I think it can be smooth. I think the problem is that little bit of suspicion around what's the other person doing. But from an outsider looking in, I think the passion shown tonight, it just shows how keen people are to work together, and I can't see any reason why it shouldn't be successful. Yeah,
absolutely. So to GSK, obviously, community pharmacies are immensely important to GSK. If you're giving advice to a pharmacist and his pharmacy team as to how they can improve and be as good as they can be, yep, maybe as a knock-on effect to help the collaboration with GPs, what would your advice be to that pharmacist?
Yeah, I mean, thinking about high-performance teams, been in very good teams in the past with GSK and some less so before my time with GSK. You know what makes a good team, and it's all about working together as one team. From being a manager in the past, you look at having a vision and having a shared vision. You look at things like reward and recognition, and that doesn't have to be, here's a incentive, go hit it. It might be as little as something like a team night out if you've achieved something in it successfully, and that could be a pizza night even. But when the team are working towards something together, that's how you get real results. I think it's recognising what people want to achieve in their careers as well, and making sure that just because some person might be the best in the pharmacy, it doesn't necessarily mean you then have to train them up to be a dispensing technician, because if they're best being on counter, let's keep them out at the counter with seeing people. And it's really looking at what people's strengths are and what drives them really.
So how important is community pharmacy to a company like GSK?
Well, massively important. That's why we're here tonight, helping out with this evening's events. As a company, we want to get a lot closer to community pharmacy, and ultimately, we're going to take things away tonight that we've picked up on. There's things that have come out tonight, such as a lot of people said about how they want to promote themselves better with the community, and I think we're going to take that away and think about how, as a company, we can try and support that. We've got some things on the table tonight which will go away and think, right, how can we really try and support pharmacy that little bit more? And we look forward to trying to come up with some nice ideas where we can work collaboratively on that.
Yeah. Is there anything particular that sort of struck you tonight that you could take away from this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's things which have come out where people have said they want to kind of really promote themselves better. So speaking to Raj earlier, he talked around the POS side. I'm thinking from an education perspective as well. We've got plans to work a bit closer on that. We've got the pharmacist website, which we're looking to promote with community pharmacy a little bit more. And also just in terms of getting out there and really helping the staff in terms of understanding the benefits of the products, so they then pass that on to the customer and get that kind of buy-in from customers, so they keep coming back to the pharmacy as much as anything.
Yes. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for joining us, James. Appreciate that. Cheers.